Lately, I've gotten a lot of questions about adhesive capsulitis or frozen shoulder. Now, what exactly is frozen shoulder? It's really where the shoulder starts getting limited to be able to move in all directions. Now, a key thing that differs between this and a rotator cuff issue is with a rotator cuff issue, I can passively raise an arm and go through that range even if you cannot. However, with frozen shoulder, you nor I am going to be able to raise your arm against any sort of resistance. Hey, what's up guys? My name is Dr. Joseph Rosie. I'm a physical therapist, strength coach, and the founder of Elite Performance. Now, in this video, we're talking about frozen shoulder. Now, frozen shoulder naturally occurs more in women between the ages of 40 and 60. Now, it happens so common that it's commonly known as a 50-year-old shoulder. Now, why it happens more in women, we don't really know, but we just know that it tends to occur more in women than in men. Now, what really brings it on? Well, we don't exactly know the complete etiology. However, if you maintain your mobility and range of motion and keep yourself from limiting that range of motion, then you're going to be more apt to not get in the first place. Now, naturally, so adhesive capsulitis just means adhesive being like, adhesing, and then capsulitis being the capsule. So every joint in the body has a capsule, and in this case, we're talking about the shoulder. So right here, there is a capsule that goes around each joint. Okay, now if you see this shoulder, see how it moves nice and freely. This one over here, it doesn't, right? And that's because this is showing you, the ligaments and the capsule nice and tight. Now, naturally, if you were to try to move your arm and you did have adhesive capsulitis, you're going to be limited in every direction, right? Not just one direction, but all of the directions. Now, what we want to do, the best thing we can do is try to prevent it from ever occurring than it is to really get out of it. So the funny thing about adhesive capsulitis is it naturally goes through a freezing, a frozen, then a thawed stage. Now the thing is, that can take a couple years in order to go through that stage. So if we can prevent ourselves from ever getting and going through that in the first place, we're going to be better off. However, just note that if you do end up getting this, naturally things are going to get better on their own within time. It's just nobody really wants to deal with it if you don't have to. So the best thing we can do is prevent ourselves from ever having that frozen shoulder and that limited mobility. So we want to be able to maintain our mobility as best as possible. So what I want to do today is really show you a couple things to do if you have limited mobility, and as well to prevent it even if you can't raise your arm up on your own. So first thing I want to do is I want to show you how to use a shoulder pulley system. Now, when using a shoulder pulley system, there's a couple ways that we can do this. You can do it where the shoulder pulley is in front of you, so therefore you're raising your arm up with your other arm. Now, naturally, if somebody is more irritated, then I like to have people actually facing the pulley system. Now, you're not going to be able to raise your arm as high. However, it should naturally feel a little bit more comfortable. Then, if we really want to aim on the end range of the mobility, then we're going to face away from the pulley system, and the pulley system is going to be behind us. It's just going to allow us to get a little bit further into that end range. Now, we can do this either going into a straight range or even out to the side. And by going out to the side, that's going to allow us to really open up that shoulder out to the side, which becomes really challenging for most. Now, after that, or the next thing I like to use is I like to use a wand. Now you can use the one like I'm using from Range Master, or you can go ahead and use a cane if you have one laying by the house, or even a broomstick. This one I find works really, really well because it has a little handle, makes it really easy to hook your hand onto. So what you want to do with this is really just keep your arm at your side as you go to push your arm outward. And by pushing your hand outward, we want to make sure that the elbow stays nice and tucked, so we're actually directing the force at the shoulder capsule itself. Then we can also do it where we're laying on our back, coming up overhead, and we can find other ways where we're even pushing it back behind us. All of these things are going to allow us to keep that mobility. Now this is really important if you've gone through a shoulder injury and you're unable to raise your arm up on your own. However, make sure that you get clearance from your physical therapist and they've given you the go-ahead to be able to do these. Now, you want to be able to maintain as much mobility as possible if you do not have frozen shoulder. Now, because you want to prevent it. If you do get frozen shoulder, the goal is to make slow progressive advancements because you don't want to irritate the tissue. We know if we further irritate the tissue, then it's just going to have kind of like a reflexive effect that it's going to want to tighten down even more. So make sure you're not pushing too far throughout this entire range. Now, after we're focusing on that mobility, we want to make sure that we're doing some sort of exercise to naturally and actively move within the available range. Again, don't try to force yourself into new ranges each and every day and force yourself to make very quick progressions, but focus on more working and using and working within the available range. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.